Hello and welcome to this video. This video is number 2 in a series of 4 where I'm working with people just like you to show them how to take a property, so that property could be a buy-to-let that they own, or this is the fascinating part, it might be somebody else's buy-to-let, and whichever way make an extra £1,000 a month profit. Now if that sounds good, I want to make sure that we do it the easy way. I want to share with you a system such that you can do this in just a few hours a week of your time. So it's £1,000 a month extra from a property that you own or you don't in just a few hours a week. Because unless you use systems, it's not going to be a repeatable, reliable result. My wife Anniko and myself have been developing those systems for the last 5 years. And we've honed them, and we've re-honed them, and we've re-honed them. And we keep on improving our systems. So if that sounds good, let me quickly introduce myself and then we can get on with the meat and bones of today's video. My name's Paul Smith. I wrote a number of years ago now the Serviced Accommodation Success Manual, and fortunately for me it became a number 1 bestseller on Amazon. We have a number of our own serviced accommodation units, because serviced accommodation is what I'm talking to you about today. I'm going to go in a little bit more detail and explain what serviced accommodation is. But we've got a number of our own serviced accommodation units. We also own a property management company called Diamond Serviced Apartments, which currently manages 146 serviced apartments for other people. Now we do that all the way from Nairn in the north of Scotland, coming down through Scotland, through the Scottish borders, through the north of England, through central England in Birmingham, through London, right down onto the south coast. Why am I telling you all that? Because regardless of where it is in the UK, you can still make £1,000 extra per month from a buy-to-let that you either own or you don't. Now, a typical buy-to-let is going to be giving something like £200 a month after all of its costs, after you've paid the mortgage, the letting fees and everything else. So what I'm talking about is multiplying that buy-to-let income by a factor of 5. Over the years, we've helped thousands of ordinary, normal people, just like you and me, to make £1,000 a month extra profit from houses all over the UK and flats. And I mean thousands of people. So we know our systems work. And over this series of 4 videos, I'm going to be sharing with you the essential top tips so that you can get your very first serviced accommodation unit, a flat or a house, earning you an extra £1,000 a month profit within just a few weeks. So in the first video of this series, I showed you how to list your property and the do's and don'ts on booking.com and Airbnb. So if you missed that, I strongly suggest you click the link at the top of this page and go back and watch that video, because this one is going to make a lot more sense if you've seen video number 1 first. Okay, so what are we focusing on today? Today, we're focusing on how you can make that extra £1,000 a month, but specifically, I want to give you the productivity hacks, I want to give you the tools, I want to give you the systems so that you can run your first serviced accommodation unit in just 4 hours a week or less from anywhere in the world with no more complicated technology than a mobile phone. So if that sounds good, get a pen, a piece of paper, settle yourself down, pause this video until you're ready, and then let's make loads of notes, and then let's go on to make loads of money. This is actually quite exciting for me, being back here, because this flat, I haven't actually been here for I think about 7 years, and for a couple of years we had it as a buy-to-let. And so I want to talk to you about this flat, I want to show you around this flat, because for a couple of years, we ran it as a buy-to-let, a regular buy-to-let, and yeah, it was making us 100, 200, maybe even £210 a month. As soon as we converted this flat, and I'm talking to you today from a town called Helensburgh up in Scotland, very close to where we live, we make £1,000 profit each and every month from flats just like this one all over the UK. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to move from room to room and I'm going to show you around. So we're in the lounge at the moment, and when we actually bought this flat, this room was the bedroom, because this is a classic Scottish tenement flat. So what you can see just here, this is where the bed would go normally. So the way this was built, it was built for this to be the bed space, and that's why that arch is shaped like that. So if you can imagine, the bed would have gone in there years and years and years ago. But if we look round, what else have we got in here? Very, very important, on the floor down there, we've got the Wi-Fi router. So I don't know if you can see that, there we go. So make sure you've got excellent Wi-Fi. Here, we've got the sofa bed. Now, why do we want a sofa bed? Well, we want a sofa bed because, and this is super critical, this is a 1-bedroom flat. But as soon as we've got this sofa bed, all of a sudden, we can sleep 4 people. And one of the many things that I'm going to share with you on how to do is add extra money to your booking for each and every extra person that comes to stay. That's expected, that's normal. But just looking around, you can see we've recently done a refurb on this one. The whole block got a new roof, all the exterior render was redone. So we thought, well, that's really the ideal time to give this one a refurb, because I actually forget, I think we've owned it for maybe even 8 years. And I don't think we've touched it since the day that we got the keys or whatever. So it was time for a refurb. But here we are, we're in a standard sort of £100,000, 1-bedroom flat in a place called Helensburgh. And this wonderful little thing is making us pots of cash. So if you'd like one of these, I want to work with you. So I'm going to take a little break now, and we're going to walk to the next room, and I'm going to start talking to you again. But this is a lounge. We've got a table in it, as you saw behind me earlier on, probably. So this is the dining space for the people that come and work, or it could be workspace, obviously. We've got the sofa bed. This is actually the same hardwood flooring that we laid when we moved in the first place. It's tough, durable. We haven't had to redo it. We've kept all the period features, like the cornicing up there. And it's just neutral colours. And this is what a serviced accommodation should look like. All right, see you in the next room. Okay, so here we are in the bedroom. I'll talk to you more about that in a second. An extra £1,000 per month per property of profit sounds like almost too good to be true, doesn't it? So how can I prove it to you? Well, I'm proving it to you live, real time, because I'm in one of my serviced accommodation units. So this particular one, just to restate, is in a place called Helensburgh, but we've got them all over the UK. Over the years, we've steadily added to our serviced accommodation units, sometimes singly, like this flat, sometimes a block of flats. So we've got a block of 4, we've got 2 blocks of 5, and over the years, we've just gently built up, using the profits from our serviced accommodation business, so that we now own 28 of our own serviced accommodation units. We manage many for other people, and we've got other arrangements in place. So I guess this is living proof. But from day one, we were determined that this was going to be a business. So we've got systems in place, we've got people in place. So what's the definition of a business? The definition of a business is a profitable financial enterprise that works without you. So every time I'm talking to anybody to help them build a business of any kind, it's critical that very, very quickly in the process, they're redundant. Because if it relies on you, that's a job, not a business. So much though people enjoy serviced accommodation income, of course it's great, what I don't want to do is replace your existing job with a different job, even though it's probably going to earn you more money, but I still want you to have a business owner's luxury, which is both money and time freedom. So let me tell you about our very first serviced accommodation unit. It was about 6 or 7 miles, well it still is 6 or 7 miles from here. It's in a place called Dumbarton in Station Road. And for years and years and years, it earned us a profit as a buy-to-let of about £100 to £120 a month. The first 6 months that we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't have the systems, it looked nothing like this, we kitted out the whole thing. I kitted out the whole thing from a second-hand furniture shop for a few £100s. But even though we didn't really know what we were doing, it didn't look to this standard. Many things we're having to learn as we went along. We still made more than £6,000 over the first 6 months. Now, when I take all the costs out and everything else, it turned to a profit of £575 per month, which is almost 5 times more than we've been making at 120 or 125 or whatever it was. As soon as you move up the scale to a properly organised, systemised business where you're not wasting money and you adopt this quality of finish that I'll talk to you more about in a second, suddenly, boom, you're over £1,000 per month extra. And it's really, really important that I emphasise these are actual real numbers, and I'm talking to you for one of my actual real apartments. Okay, so just before we move to the next room and I talk to you some more about a different aspect of serviced apartments, I just want to show you around the room. Obviously it's a 1-bedroom flat, so it's not going to take me forever to show you around it. Because this is a bedroom, we've actually put carpet on the floors, so I hope you can see that, to make it nice and comfy for everybody. We've got a nice proper double bed, so full, it's a proper, you don't have to put a 6-foot bed, but I'd put at least a 5-foot or ideally a 5'6" bed. Don't try and ram 2 people into a 4'6" bed. Nice matching furniture. We always like to dress the properties. So we've got, as well as being a nice bed with a nice headboard and bedside cabinets, we've got nice cushions, we've got a throw, and we've got the towels all nicely laid out for when the guests come in. Plenty of storage, full-size wardrobe here, and a chest of drawers to go with the other 2 bedside cabinets. So I don't want to get too into the ins and outs and the do's and the don'ts, because what I really want you to do is get started with your first one. So more of that in the next room. See you in a few seconds. Okay, welcome to the kitchen. So before I talk to you about the kitchen and the specific information I want to share with you today, I want to give you a little example of a property that we run for somebody else in a place called Cleethorpes, and we manage that unit. It's a little 2 up, 2 down, so it's actually cheaper than this. This is a £100,000 flat that I'm talking to you from. A 2 up, 2 down in Cleethorpes is £60,000–70,000, that kind of number. And as a buy-to-let, not even £500 a month less. And so as a buy-to-let, you're talking £100, £150 a month profit. We just took a booking for Park House in Cleethorpes for 10 months. One booking, £25,000. Do you think the owner was pleased? Delighted. So just more proof that this works. Now, of course, if you get us to manage it for you, we're going to charge you a fee. So you won't make the full £1,000 a month extra. So, if you want to do this properly, it's not like I'm trying to push business away, but I'm just trying to be fair, open, honest. If you want to make that full £1,000 a month, you're not going to if you ask us to manage it for you, because we're going to charge you. We're a business, so guess what? We're a profitable enterprise that works without myself and Aniko. Anyway, I'll talk to you about the kitchen shortly, but before I do, I just want to make a very quick point. When we bought this property, I'm going to find out when I bought it. I'll keep saying 7 or 8 years. It might even be 10. I think, thinking about it, it was just as the financial crash happened. So I think it was probably 2008. But one of the reasons I'm so pleased and keep smiling all the time is that this kitchen is I haven't been here for years. This is the original kitchen that we put in when we did the refurb when we first bought it. And look at it, it's still in pretty good nick, isn't it? So, I mean, this hob, for instance, that's 10 years old. And this kitchen is 10 years old. It looks like nobody's used it. It looks brand new to me. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, today's topic, my top tips. I want to give you 3 top tips for how you can run your first service accommodation property in just 4 hours a week or less of your time. And I want to talk about some specific systems and specific people that you're going to need to help you to be able to do that. So here we go. Number 1, you're going to need a reliable housekeeper. Now we call them housekeepers, not cleaners, but more of that in a second. Number 2, you're going to need laundry and laundry services. You don't want to be up all night washing sheets and then ironing all the sheets and whatever else. So number 1, housekeeper. Number 2, laundry. And number 3, 24/7 maintenance. Because if you're not near the property, or even if you are near the property, behind that, that's where the boiler is boxed in. So if that stops working, at whatever time of night, you don't want to be out here in your pajamas with your flashlight and your your toolkit and whatever. I mean, for a start, you're not allowed to touch things like that. So you need 24/7 maintenance. So I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. So number one, housekeepers, brackets cleaners. Number two, laundry. And number three, 24/7 maintenance. Okay, so here we go with the housekeeper. Well, first up, I'm going to say housekeeping firm, not a housekeeper, not a cleaner. Why? Well, if you're going to go and work with a self-employed person, I'm not saying that's bad, but if it's just one person and they go on holiday or get sick or they got to go look after one of the other relatives, you will not be their first priority. Now, on the other hand, don't go for a cleaning firm with 5,000 cleaners or whatever, because you won't be important. So my first top tip to do with cleaners and housekeepers is make sure that it's a small firm. I'm thinking probably 6 to 12 employees, and it's owner managed. So the owner, the person that started the business is still in it, and they probably still do cleaning or little maintenance jobs themselves. So that's the first thing. So it's a cleaning company, but a small one. Second, they're more than just cleaners, which is why we call them housekeepers. So they're your first line of maintenance. So you want them to do routine tasks, like, you know, if one of these light bulbs fails, you don't want that to turn into a maintenance job. You want the cleaning company, you want the housekeepers to be competent to do very, very basic maintenance, like change the light bulbs. Next, if we just turn the camera around and look up at the ceiling over there, you'll see that's a mains interlinked smoke detector. So every week we get the housekeepers for just to do a specified maintenance task. So one of those maintenance tasks is check a different fire alarm, so if there is a fire alarm or smoke alarm call point, and record that. So one of the weeks of the month they're testing fire alarms. Another of the weeks of the month they're doing a full inventory. So I don't know where we are in here because, oh, there we go. So we've obviously got some knives and forks in here and a corkscrew and whatever else. But, you know, let's say over the years or over the months, if these have got lost, guests have walked off with them or whatever, and let's just take another picture of this drawer now, and let's say that this is a flat for 6 people, but bloody hell, there's only 2 knives there. I mean, it isn't a big complicated task, but it's things that, you know, really, really need to be done. So once a month, every week, they've got a series of regular routine tasks to make sure that your apartment stays in tip-top condition. So they're your eyes and ears. For example, this flat is a 1-bedroom flat, which sleeps 4 people. Now, if there's a booking for 2 people, but 4 people come and stay, it's your housekeeper that's going to tell you that. On the odd occasion there's a little bit of minor damage or whatever, well, again, your housekeeper is going to be the one that reports that. Because one of the things that we do is we don't take deposits generally, but we've got ways of automatically charging people extra money if there's any scratches on the paintwork, or maybe they've scuffed a coffee table, or I don't know. If there's £100, one of the things that we're very strong on, because it's a legal requirement obviously, is that people can't smoke inside. So if people do smoke inside, we charge them, I think it's a 199 or whatever it is, £200 cleaning fine fee. So these are the things that your first line of defence. Now, if you've got a good housekeeping company and they're doing this regularly for you, a huge amount of the operational aggro and hassles just disappears. It just absolutely disappears. And I'm pleased to say that over the years, having run hundreds of serviced apartments for lots of years, I've never had to change a single light bulb, iron a single sheet, or whatever else. It's all been done by other people. So I would strongly recommend you do not turn yourself into a cleaner, because that is a minimum wage task. Now, I'm not being snobby or snooty, but you're not getting into serviced apartments in order to do minimum wage tasks. Okay. And then the final thing that I'm going to suggest to you that your housekeeper really needs to be good at is liaising with and managing your laundry company, your linen company. Because you don't want to get involved in turning up at a service department like this and having to bag up the linen and meet the linen driver and do all that. So one major part of your housekeeper's responsibility is to make sure there's enough linen and to make sure they're managing that relationship. So I'm going to come onto it now. So you'll have a separate contract with the linen or laundry provider, but you don't want to be managing that. You want to make it the housekeeper's responsibility to manage the linen and the laundry. Okay, so now let's move to linen and laundry. And again, you might be thinking, well, this is not the most exciting video I've ever watched in the world, Paul. Well, it should be, because I'm teaching you how to have an extra £1,000 a month from every property without you doing all the work. So it might not be the most intrinsically enjoyable thing you've ever watched, but it's really important you understand it so you can systemize it so you don't have to do a load of work. So, linen and laundry. Now, what did Paul do with his very first service department? If you watched the first video, you'll have seen that Amico wasn't overly supportive, and I won't tell the whole story again, of the first service department. So I was trying to set it up on a shoestring. I mean, literally a shoestring. It's not like we were skint, it's just she wouldn't give me any money. So one of the things that I did is we went up the road and we bought all the duvet sets from Asda, you know, the £20 duvet sets. And we had a brown one, we had a green one with matching pillowcases, and we then put a contract in place with a laundrette to do industrial washing of all the linen. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen what happens when you put a £20 duvet set into an industrial linen washing machine. It basically comes out looking something like a tea bag. So don't go to Asda and spend 20 quid. You need commercial grade linen. Now, it's up to you whether you buy it or hire it. We hire most of ours, and included in the hire charge is the washing and the ironing. So it gets delivered back to you, ready to go. All you need to do, all your cleaner needs to do, your housekeeper needs to do with the old stuff, is just chuck it in one of those, you've probably seen them in hotels, like big white laundry bags, and they charge you by the bag. So fill the bag up, much as you can stuff in there, and they take it away and they bring it back all nice and ready to go. And if you haven't got anyone on site, or if ideally, they don't deliver it to the property, they deliver it to the housekeeper. But if you haven't got anybody on site, or for whatever reason it needs to be remote, the various firms offer facilities, and it's like one of those wheelie bins that you use for recycling, different colour, normally yellow, and it's lockable. So the linen company will just come and take the dirty stuff away, empty the recycling bin, and then fill it up with nice sheets and pillowcases and towels and flannels and tea towels and bath mats and all the other stuff you need. And not only is it nicely ironed and everything else, it's all individually plastic shrink wrapped. So, you know, it's weatherproof, but it's locked in a sealed wheelie bin anyway. So really important you get to know these systems such that it all happens and you don't have to do anything. So you need to learn the system, you then place the contract with, you know, the cleaning company, the housekeeper, you place the contract with the laundry and the laundry company. You don't actually do anything other than place the contract and obviously monitor their performance. So this is how you can get all this done, and you can have flats and houses that look this good and this clean without you having to lift a finger. Okay, so the final element that I'm going to share with you today is about the 24/7, because you need 24/7 response. This is about hotel levels of response. If it was a normal buy-to-let, which it used to be years ago, and you know the boiler broke, or there was something wrong with the hob or the oven or something, then it's fine for a tenant to be told, oh, okay, really sorry about the oven, we'll get somebody sent out to you in the next 48 hours. That's fine. But if people are trying to cook, and if people can't because there's some electrical fault in the house somewhere and a fuse needs to be replaced or something, they can't wait 2 or 3 days. I mean, they might only be staying with you for 3 days, so they can't go without a cooker for 3 days, or a fridge, or they can't go without heating or hot water. So you need to have 24/7 emergency response. Now specifically, I would recommend that you have at least 3 contractors. And again, this is a question of setting them up one off so that they do the work so that you don't have to. So get 3 contractors. One of them can be a normal daytime, you give them most of the jobs contractor. And obviously you don't need bricklayers and stuff. I mean, you're not going to do structural re-engineering of the house while there are tenants in it. So practically, what are we talking about? We're talking about probably a handyman who's going to do most of the sort of first line. This cupboard handles come loose or something. You don't want to pay top dollar to a tradesman to put a few handles back on, or I don't know, the fuse has gone in the microwave, so the microwave's not working. Well, you want an £8–9 an hour handyman. You don't want to be paying an electrician a 50 quid call out charge to replace the fuse in a microwave that you can buy from Asda for 30 quid. You know, so you've got to be sensible about this. So you are going to need a handyman. You're also going to need an electrician, and you're also going to need a plumber, but specifically a heating plumber. So what do they call them? Gas safe certified. So you need a general purpose plumber, you need an electrician, and you need a handyman as a minimum. I would say get 3, and I would say make sure the plumber is, or the gas safe guy, because that is the thing that you really want to protect, the hot water and the heating. Because you can get by with, you know, even if the cooker wasn't working, really sorry about that, we'll get it fixed for you tomorrow. Why don't you order a takeaway and we'll just credit that back off the cost of the accommodation? I mean, it virtually never happens. But whenever something like that does happen, you want to make sure you're really nice to the people such that they really appreciate what you've done and they come back and stay again. So there you go. Systems to help you have a fully functional service department that operates housekeeping, cleaning, first line maintenance. Cleaners do things like read the gas and electric meter, check the smoke alarm, you know, so all of that is systemized. Next, the linen and the laundry. Make sure that you've got good, robust, industrial grade linen, and make sure you've got a contract with someone that does it all for you, and make sure your housekeepers control them. And then for any other maintenance issues, first stop, obviously a handyman, and then a professional tradesman, because obviously they're going to charge you a lot more. And if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be a hefty call out charge that goes with it. Okay, so I've got one more section for you on today's video. I'm just going to give you a quick tour around the kitchen. Not that it's going to take long, because it's not a big kitchen. And then I've got one more piece of content that I want to share with you in terms of what I'd like you to do next before you see the third video. Just a little tiny bit of homework for you. And I want to give you a few clues as to what's in video number 3. Okay, so the kitchen. So it is good that I occasionally come to my properties, because the last time I was here, there was a kitchen table here. So I think that this, you could easily have a little kitchen table here, maybe not for 4 people, but certainly for 2 people. So I think I'll ask the team, could we get a little kitchen table in there? You can see out through the windows, which could do with a bit of a clean. You can see a footbridge there, and maybe you can make out on the distance a railway track. I don't know if you can see like the train line and stuff. You can probably see the overhead power cables. But this apartment is literally 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes, probably more like 3 minutes walk to the train station. Can't really show you, but like 1 block, as the Americans would say, that way is the town centre. So you're right in the middle of everything here. Pubs, restaurants, train station, that's a direct train line into Glasgow. So these are all good things. So you've got a regular kitchen here, a fridge freezer there, little fridge freezer, plenty of storage space up here. I would say, whatever you do, make sure you've got a decent microwave, because a lot of guests use microwaves. Not so many use the oven and the hob. We've obviously got one if they want to use it. Critical that you've got a good industrial grade toaster. So I'd go for one with the 4 slots, not the 2 slot one. So they don't cost a lot these days, and they just go for that instead. The other thing we always put in is a washer dryer. So again, not so many guests use them, but when they do, they want to make sure that they can use both the washing machine and the dryer. In our more upmarket ones, in our fancier ones, we'll have dishwashers, but in a flat of this kind of grade. So to give you a feel on rates for this one, if it's 1 person, we're going to be talking about £75 to £85 a night, and we're going to be adding roughly £15 a person. So if it's full with say 4 people, you're probably going to be looking, depending on the time of year, 120, 130 pounds a night. But if you're then dividing that by 4 people, it's like 30 quid each. So it's very, very affordable accommodation. They've got a big spacious kitchen, big spacious lounge, a double bedroom, and I'll quickly show you the bathroom in the next piece of this video. So I'll see you in the hallway and the bathroom in a few seconds. Okay, so final part of today's video. I want you to do a small piece of homework for me, if that's okay. I want you to contact 3 housekeeping companies or cleaners in your area and explain to them the contents of the video. You can even show them the video if you want. Explain to them the kind of responsibilities that you want them to carry out, and get them specifically get 3 quotes. Because so many times people that haven't done this before, they just go to a housekeeper, agree to whatever it is, and they get stung, really badly stung. We've had quotes for as much as £75 to clean a little flat like this. What you should really be looking for is an hour and a half, and your price point you should be looking for is about 25 quid. You want to get the whole place cleaned for about 25 quid. So make sure you get at least 3 quotes, because getting 3 quotes and talking to housekeepers in particular is going to be a huge first step on your service accommodation journey. And remember, at this stage we're just trying to get you live with your first one, an extra £1,000 a month within just a few weeks. Okay, so that's it in terms of the homework. To give you a feel for what we're going to be doing in the next video, I'm actually going to be introducing you to, we're going to be playing some videos of wonderful people that we've worked with over the years that have gone on after their first service accommodation unit and built up businesses that are doing hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of business every year, and they've got staff and everything else. But as they often say, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, and what I'm trying to help people do at this stage is just take that first step into service accommodation. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to finish off the tour just now. So I don't know if you can see, follow me into the bathroom here. So a regular bathroom, tiled. We like to put these corner baths in whenever we can, but we always make sure that there's a shower as well, a proper stand-up shower with a shower screen. Got a heated towel rail here, and sink as you'd expect with a mirror. So not fancy, but nicely tiled. So very low maintenance, and I'll just give you the final part of the tour. So come this way. We like to make sure that the apartments look nice, so we tend to put big clocks, and I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a little bit of interior design going on. Bring you out here into the hallway, and very important, look at this. This is the cleaner's cupboard. So this is where all the spare towels, the teas and the coffees, and you can see this tiny little suitcase lock we've got on there. It isn't to prevent people breaking in, it's just to make it clear that they're not supposed to go in there. And guests are very respectful of that. So we keep, spare toilet rolls, we keep spare light bulbs, as I said, all the linen, the guest supplies, teas, coffees, sugars, that sort of stuff, welcome pack items. The next very important cupboard is this one. So I'm not sure if we've got, oh yeah, we have got a light in here. So this is where the bedding is kept for the sofa bed, and we've got some extra towels up there so if we've got 3 or 4 people, and then just the stuff that the guests might need, like an ironing board, a hoover and a mop, because we provide cleaning, housekeeping once a week, but if the guests want to, obviously they've spilled something, it's really important that the guests have got all the stuff that you would have in a normal house. And the final thing, this is the little internal hallway. So the final thing is, if you can, use big mirrors like this, because that's going to create an awful lot of extra space. It just makes the whole place feel a lot bigger. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tour of this serviced apartment. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and watch out for the next in a few days' time. Like I said before, if you haven't watched video 1, just click on the link at the top of the page here and watch it, because this video is going to make a lot more sense if you've seen the previous one. Anyway, like I always say, you've been wonderful. I've been Paul. See you very soon.